Okay. The trend.
The function reduce take an array and reduces the element to a single value. The reduce function loops through the arrays and applies any operations that you can push into a function to each element in the arrays while keeping track of the outcome of each loop. In this way, we can use reduce to do things like sum or the numbers in an array of or multiplies them all together. Okay, here we declare constants with nums and assign to the values of three elements, number 4, 1, and 3. The second one, we declare a constant with at, and then we assign to evaluate of the result of function callback, and then we pass in a and b as parameter, as argument, and then we return a at b, and then we invoke the function reduce. Also, we pass in arguments like nums, arrays, and add functions, and we have the default value 0. That's the last three arguments. So we pass in 3 arguments to it. Okay, here how it works. The function has an accumulator values. Its job is to keep track of the accumulated output of each loop. It starts out equal to the initial values. Second, the array is iterated over passing the accumulators and the next array's elements as arguments to the callback. Number 3, the callback's return values becomes the new accumulator values. That's why we return number 8, because we go run to each element, right? Add 1, add 2, something. Number 4, the next loop executes with these accumulators values. In the example above, the accumulators being at 0, and then we add 1, we add 0 to 4 is core. The accumulators values now is 4. Then we add 4, and then we pass the second element is 1, make it to be 5. Finally, we add 5 and 3 to the add functions, and then bring us the evaluate to values number 8, which is returned. Okay, construct your own reduce function. That's and now we come to the problems. The problem says construct your own reduce function that accepts an array's callback and initialize values and return a single values. Okay, here we are. We already have we already declare nums 4, 1, 3, and then we already declare constant at the variable at, and we set it to evaluate of functions, callback functions, and we pass in a and b, and then we return a at to b, and then when we log the reduce num, we console log the reduce function, and we pass in array numbers, and we pass in function at, and then we pass in the other number as start is 0. This one is initialize value. So what we're going to do here, just go ahead to do the code. Okay. We know that this one is callback function, and then we're going to create a reduce function. So let me write down here. So input will be array of number and function and initialize init values. Okay, and output will be number one after sum or of elements we pass in. Okay, so we're going to create a function reduce. Okay, reduce and pass in input or input, right? And inside the body of function. So let me go ahead to just create a function reduce. Okay, use arrow function. So we call arrays where we pass in parameter arrays and the callback function. I just give a label CB and we pass in init values initial. Just pass in init. So let me just write the body function body, and then I'm going back to how we're gonna do reduce, right? So let's see how we're gonna do. Let me think about that. Inside the body function reduce, we're going to iterate through arrays, and then iterate to arrays on each element. We will on each iteration or okay. Then we invoke X callback function, which pass in current element that we're gonna do, and then we also pass in element function. So at first we pass in okay, so we pass in element with okay, let's see. I think first we need to pass in init and with current element, and then we're going to iterate and then call back. Let me see what we're going to return. Okay, and we return the value. So I think at first we have initial values, so pass in initial values and then return the initial values. Okay, let's check initial value, and yeah, so what we're gonna return, and then we return init. Okay, so inside here, let me use the for loop to initialize. I'm going to set at the first make I, set it to 0. The loop will run at less than I, less than array.length. And then on iteration, we will increment I by 1, up 1. Okay, let me just return init. Yeah, init. Yeah, okay. Okay, inside for loop, we're going to invoke callback function. So we pass in iteration of array. We pass in init, okay, and then we also pass in array on the current element. So going to be array index I. Okay, here we are. Let me work out on my code here if it's work. So first we pass in number 0 with number 4, and then okay, I think I'm gonna init here 0, so that init should be 4, and the second one is passing number init 4 and add 2. 4 and add to 1. The initialize at 5 should be 8. Okay, let's run the code here. Okay, what's wrong? For loop and return. Okay, we're missing something. Callback. They show syntax array unexpected tokens. So the print C, let me check where in it. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm forget to make the arrow function here. Okay, so okay, that doesn't work. This means I do something wrong here. So let me just okay here. It doesn't work here. Okay, expect x0 to return equals 6. So we pass in initial value. I think I'm going to declare a sum variable, set it to 0, and then going to add sum, set it to invoke function, and then return sum. If I correct, okay, no, not correct. So let me console log to see sum, what happened. Okay, so let's run the code here. Okay, sum is already number 8, but the thing is wrong here. Okay, the create object from arrays expected 0 object is kind of the initial value is some kind of the wrong one. Let me check to see. Okay, initial value is 0 and this color already returned the number. Okay, let me just use the change the value of total to be total. Okay, so let me run the code. I'm sure still not working. Okay. Reduce choose return sum up to array. Reduce choose create a total object from an array. Okay, so here we are. I think we have problem here. Okay, why we want to return object? So what I'm doing something wrong. I think this logic is doesn't work here. So we pass in. Okay, let me check here. Oh, maybe I should not pass initial. No, we should pass initial values. See, it's not correct. So we should pass in initial value. Yeah. Okay. So let me log to see what is initial up to. How about this one? Okay, that is not correct. What is initial values? Initial values to be 0 is never changed. So in B, C, B, how about I didn't do that? Okay, doesn't correct. So we pass in initial values. Okay, object from arrays. So now the result is not correct. So what I'm thinking is if we add to initial values, okay, doesn't work also. So the return is total with 3. So it means it's not correct one. So what should come out here? A and B. Let me try to understand before moving on. I'm sure this one, or maybe I use this one wrong. No. So let me console log total inside for loop. Console log total. Just delete this one. Okay, 4, 5, and 8. 4, 5, and 8. The total is correct, but like why we not return the correct one? This is weird, right? It's kind of like total is 4, 5, and 8. The result is already returned correct one. Oh, okay. I'm see here we are. I think I should set no. Okay, correct the correct here. And then we increment I. We start initial I from so we invoke the function and we set to total. So total is first at 4, 5, and 8. Expect x0 to equal to. And also the result is already returned the 8. What happened? So let me check what I'm doing wrong here. Oh, okay. Never mind. 1 second. Reduce. Okay, let me have to check. Was I doing something wrong? Accumulator. We said we have to check when we invoke function. We invoke function. Okay, accumulators. Okay, what we're going to do here is like we need to set total should be initial values, I think. And we start with I from here. Okay, that's wrong, that's correct. And it looks like we need to just set accumulator to the, okay, the result already come out correct. No, it's not increased initial. How about if I use this one? No, we didn't. Okay, it's kind of like it doesn't work now. So let me check if init is undefined, right? What we're gonna do here, if init is undefined, we need to set total. Okay, let me change name this one. Accumulator, like what they say. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna use this time to count to. Okay, what we're gonna do here? Okay, we change this and return accumulator. Okay, let me try to understand line by line. So we said init if init is undefined. So we're going to accumulator will be array dex 0. I mean, if the initial we didn't pass in, we gonna set the first array to be accumulator. Otherwise, we will do. Okay, 1 second. If the first, if initial doesn't pass in, it's been undefined, we set the first element in array to be accumulator, and then we're going to move slide accumulator array dot slide 1. So array gonna be slide 1. Oh, array, we reassign arrays. So here we are, and then we're going to do here. Oh, otherwise we're gonna set accumulator equal to init. Okay, so that's our accumulator. You help each iteration, and then all we used to do is just use a for loop to initial is array. Okay, is okay, it's not correct here. We select by one, and then we use. Oh, okay. As we already changed, so we have to change. We pass in accumulator and the current element. Okay, that is work. So let me try to say what is working on here. That's why I'm stuck at the first. Okay. So we declare a function reduce and reduce, pass in or arguments, right? Or inputs, and then okay, yeah. So I made some a step. So we have to check if initial is not undefined. Is undefined. Undefined. So okay, first we have to declare create a accumulator to track on each like what they say here. Accumulator is job to keep track on of accumulator. We declare what its job is to keep track of the loop. Okay, so that's what they say here. Okay, we declare variables accumulators to keep track of the accumulated output of each loop. And then we check if the initial values we pass in here. So let me change the name here. Okay. If initial values is undefined, we will set the accumulators assigned to the first element of array. Okay. Just save that. And then we going to then reassign the array by moving to the next element. So that one gonna be set was equal to initial values. Remove the element to the array using slide. We will move because we already set the first element be accumulated. So we need to move the next one to count and add to the first iteration, the first initial values, right? So here we use array.slide. So now array is if initial values, okay, is undefined, we're going to come to this if, right? But if the initial values we pass in is start, so let's say here we pass in 0, so it means not undefined. They will come to else statement. So we set accumulators equal to initial values, so right? And now, like, okay, otherwise, set reassign accumulators to initial values. Okay, that means if not, otherwise we reassign initial to value. And then what we're going to do here, we iterate through arrays, okay, using a for loop. Use a for loop. So then inside the for loop, we're going to invoke callback functions with pass-ins accumulated because we already reassign pass in accumulated with the current element and set to, no, we said like we reassign accumulated and assign, oh sorry, assign, oh assign to invoke function, invoke a callback function and pass in, right? And then after that, we're gonna know just return accumulator. Okay, that is gonna work, right? Okay, I'm just a little bit stuck at first, and then now I understand line by line. Okay, yeah, that's why we say we declare function reduce with pass and arrays, callback, and initialize values first. So what if we pair here, and then we come down to line 26. 26, we declare a function, we declare arrays nums of number of 3 elements, 4, 1, and 3. And then 27, we declare constant and add with the add. And then we're going to evaluate of values to add, right? It's function. This is a anonymous function. It's like function no names. We pass in A and B, and then we return A, add to B. And on line 28, we invoke or we calling function reduce. We pass in num arrays and add functions, and we also pass in the initialize values here. Let's say we didn't pass, right? So this one gonna be undefined, right? So let's run the loop again. Okay, it's still working because what we're doing here, if we didn't pass, right, we come to, and then they appear when we invoke the functions on line 78, it's gonna be evaluate of function reduce, and then the callback we check if we pair argument as parameters. So what they pair here, so okay, we pass in number and we name it as arrays, and then we pass in add, the name is a callback function and initial values, right? So now array is num, callback is add, and initialize value is 0. And let's say if I didn't pass a num, right? So this is gonna be undefined. So first we want to do is we declare a list by list because we're going to reassign after accumulated. And then next we check if initialize init values is undefined. It means this one gonna be undefined because we didn't pass any values here. So they come to this if statement, right? And then we're gonna check, okay, if undefined, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna grab the first element of an array, set it to accumulated. So now accumulated before undefined, now the value is gonna be 4. And then we need to reassign the array originals because we already grabbed the first one. The next one, what we're gonna do, we just use slice method and then slide by 1. So next one, array now is changed to only 4 and 3, right? Okay, we're not gonna go to else statement because we come here, and then we're going to come on line 21. That's gonna use the for loop to iterate each element, right? So we set if the first index is set to 0, and not if, we set it, the first index is set to 0, and the loop will run iterations at least at I less than array.length, and then on iterations, I will increment by 1. And we're gonna do inside our for loop, right? We're going to reassign accumulators and set it to invoke functions callback which we pass in. and then we pass in accumulated is now number 4, and then with the current elements is now number 1. So actually what if we do is here, we console log to see. I think we need to console log inside loop. So we see first will be 5 and 8, right? I believe that. Okay, let's run the code. Okay, 5 and 8, correct, right? Because we already have 4, and then we add 3, add 1 to it. So this one gonna be 5, and then we return 5 out. And then next, we add accumulated. We come to for loop again, and then we check. Okay, now I still less than array length. Yes, correct. So we're going to evaluate to line 24 or 22. So now accumulated become 8, and then we return the accumulated out because now array is evaluated to be 4 because I is more than equal to the length. That's why I return 4. So now we return 8 out. Okay, that is good, right, to understand. And now I think it's perfect, Tom. This one is show how we can create how the reduce work. Actually, we have the other method from JavaScript. It's called reduce method. It's kind of like work like that because reduce method is callback function. We can use that and pass in to do something inside, and it's amazing, right? So this is this trend is make me feel understand reduce more. So yeah, it's good today. I hope you guys having fun today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.